An unwed mother lives with her only son, but no one in the town knows that her son actually died in an accident 8 years ago. For 8 years, everyone in the town has taken it for granted that the mother and son have been living here, and the fake son has not shown the slightest flaw. One day, her son suddenly disappeared. All memories of the 8 years she lived with her son were also emptied. It's as if for the past 8 years, my mother has been living alone, and the only person who knows all the truth is a child who can see monsters. Natsum, who inherited his grandmother Reiko, has the ability to see yokai and a friend's book. Reiko, who was born with strong demon powers, collected the names of many monsters and compiled them into a book, and with the names of monsters, he could control the other party. And Natsum's daily life is to watch his bodyguard, Mr. Cat, clean up the minions who want to snatch the list of monsters. For those monsters who politely come to the door to ask for their names, they are not stingy to spend their energy to return them to them. One day, Natsum was going to deliver something to the town next door. However, the cat teacher, who is a bodyguard, turned around and disappeared without a trace of the smell of food. Natsum was strolling down the street by himself and accidentally bumped into an aunt, who, unexpectedly, was a former classmate of her grandmother. Natsum is invited to her house to sit down, and Natsum finds that his aunt's son, Nobita, is strange. At night, Natsum told the cat teacher about the day. He always felt that the mother and son were very strange between each other. They seemed to be laughing, but the smile was very fake. The cat teacher drunkenly said there are other monsters on his body, and reminded him that he is not allowed to find other bodyguards outside behind his back. Natsum was worried that Aunt and Nobita would be targeted by monsters, so she wanted to take the cat teacher to see who knew that. On the way, the cat teacher ran away because of poverty. Natsum could only go by himself, and of course, Natsum, who had no demon power, got nothing. The only consolation prize is the way, the small ancestral hall that is difficult to turn into a god, that is a god who can turn evil into good. Natsum, who didn't see a monster, and the cat teacher, who didn't eat food, met at the door of the house. The cat teacher smelled Natsum's body again, the smell of yokai. And Natsum really found traces of flowers and grass in the cat teacher. Early the next morning, Natsum found that there was a towering tree in the yard. There are still 3 fruits on the tree, and the appearance cannot be said to be exactly the same, but it can only be said to be exactly the same as the mother's mouth. In line with the principle of not letting go as long as it is delicious, the cat teacher personally handled the 3 fruits. The tree that was plucked from the fruit disappeared immediately, and the cat teacher had a stomachache that night. After an explosion, the cat teacher had a difficult birth and turned into 3 little girls. I have to say that such a mother's mouth is even more cute. Although the trees outside have grown and disappeared, and the cat teacher has changed from big to small, there is nothing abnormal in all this in the eyes of normal people. Although explanations were omitted, Natsum was not much easier. Because the 3 cat teachers who can't speak are really like 3 milk babies. It's not worry-free. I was put in the care of an intermediate level monster, ran away with 1 dot. When I woke up the next day, I lost another one, and if the 3 of them had a chance together, I could find a way to restore my original shape. Then now, Natsum is going to have a big head to find the cat. Through inquiry, it was learned that the 2 lost ones went to the town next door, and some people saw them. Familiar classmates are chasing Natsum's cat, but who it is, but I can't say clearly. From the description of his classmates, Natsum naturally knew who was chasing the cat. What makes him strange is that this girl, Ah-Tu, is obviously a girl who has a good relationship with everyone. How can she forget it? The only remaining one was used as a signal detector and taken out to find his doppelganger, and this time he found Nobita's house. And Natsum's classmate, Ah-Tu, not only forgot about his classmates, but also lived here in the name of his distant cousin. What's even weirder is that the aunt said that this is their cat that has been in the family for a long time. Looking at the 2 cats stacked on top of each other, they were able to speak, and the cat teacher judged that the problem was the tree and the 3 fruits. And it was Nobita who caused this problem. Nobita stood up and confessed his identity. He was originally the messenger of the mountain god, and he had the ability to imitate and restore. Because of the mistakes that are burdened with divine punishment, from then on a person wandering, no matter where he goes, he will be automatically treated. People who have lived in the local area for a long time are sometimes real people, sometimes completely imaginary, but no matter how close they once were, once they left, all memories of him will disappear. Until he was tired and hid in a big tree and fell asleep for a long time, there was an ancestral hall next to the tree, and the god had already left. But after listening to her grandfather, a little girl often came here to tell the trivial things of life. Watching her grow up as a little girl, watching her happy and unhappy. Finally, one day, the yokai wanted to see why she was unhappy and went after her, accidentally being mistaken for her son. Since then, she has stayed in the town as her son, Nobita. At that time, the real Nobita had just died, and it was clear that the divine punishment was on him. Since he left, he was transferred to the tree, and the seeds were planted in the yard of Natsume's house with the cat teacher, and the fruit was eaten again. Now that the divine punishment has been transferred to the cat teacher, Nobita doesn't want his own affairs to affect any innocent beings. But in order to transfer the divine punishment back to himself, he needs to gather 3 mothers first. Natsume and his classmates went to find the last one, and even if there was a bond, they couldn't stay too long. If you see your family again and you don't know each other anymore, it's really not a happy taste. Nobita returned home and his mother was in the studio. Nobita stood outside the window through a curtain and said goodbye to his mother. His mother seemed to notice something, but in the end, as usual, told him to be careful on the road. Nobita returns to the bottom of the tree, he carries the 3 kittens into the cave, and he begs Natsume to return his name to him. When Nobita met Reiko, he was inadvertently comforted by her thick nerves. Even if he will be forgotten now, he is determined not to forget his mother, and eventually, the cat teacher changes back. Nobita also turned into a tree, his demonic power was gone, and he never returned to this world again, and everyone's memories returned to normal. But as a mother, although she clearly knows that her son has been gone for 8 years, she still has the warmth in her heart for 8 years. Companionship will eventually face goodbye, and memories will fade over time, but the only thing that cannot be changed is the days when we lived together. It was irreplaceable at the time, and those I loved and loved me, both in and out, had saved me once and would always bring me comfort.